Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links!
Hello everyone. Welcome to a quick stream. So this is basically kind of my thoughts about Muto's event as well as Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 coming into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. The first thing about Muto's event is quite pretty straightforward overall. So we got two new cards. First up is Chaosai the Ghost Stopper. Essentially it's Necro Valley but for spell cards. And the other card would be called Fukubiki. Essentially, check shuffle deck, check top card, highest attack goes into your hand. The one the lowest attack or even like spell or traps automatically go into the graveyard because they're treated as lower attack points or have 0 attack points overall. So aside from that, if both results are tied, they just go to the bottom of the deck. Pretty straightforward stuff overall. But aside from that is that the fact that this event is kind of pretty a chill event for you to rake up some gems as well as farm for Solemn Muto. If you've already done so, then yeah, it's pretty much fine. But the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's being introduced to the game is something not really familiar because I don't actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's RRL as well. So what I know of the game is that it basically kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links uses 3 boards, but the card designs as well as the fact that the playstyle is summon everything at one go in your hand, and essentially there are some cards like Vanguard's Legion, etc. So that's basically how it kind of looks, but we'll see later on how they plan to introduce it in the game within the next 3 days starting from today. But aside from that, I do look forward to seeing what kind of new mechanics are being introduced and how it will actually fit into the current format overall, because as you know, 7s and the normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Are basically, although they share the same name of Yu-Gi-Oh! But the playstyle is kind of different in terms of that. So I don't know how it's gonna plan out, but we'll just have to see later on. But as per usual, when it comes to a new world being introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's definitely gonna be something like, for example, new gems as well as a mini event going on as well. So overall, it's pretty straightforward, and if you want to try it for yourself, sure. But if you're not interested in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 series, then it's pretty much fine. You don't actually necessarily have to go play Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's world, or if at all, check it out, have a go at it, or try to learn the new mechanics if you do not want to, because it all depends on whether you are interested in it or not. But aside from that, I guess we're still gonna get the usual Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links kind of content overall, especially since there are so many worlds in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links right now. So first up, the original world thus far, we have yet to go into like the Awakening of the Dragon storyline as well. The one with Leviathan, as well as the part where Atem leaves the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Also, Dimensions is pretty much the closing part, so you can say it's the part where Atem lives. And then for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX on the other hand, GX, we kind of have something in retrospect where we already have the Supreme King kind of storyline altogether. And according to the anime, because the final season for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was never dubbed, so you don't actually know the new season, as not many people do actually, sadly. But enough being said about that, because overall we still have some new like storylines like the ones in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds for example. So Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds itself, we do not actually have a complete storyline yet, because we've completed the Dark Sinus arc, we've completed the zone arc as well. So essentially there isn't actually much to do in 5D's kind of storyline going forward, unless you're trying to introduce new characters into the game. But that's why I think we pretty much got all the main roster characters for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. There's nothing else gonna proceed from that. Zexal, on the other hand, we barely scratched the surface for the Baryon World kind of storyline. Because if you play Alito or even Jirok against characters like Shark for example, he still does not know that he's a Baryon. So that's actually one of the weird things overall, because the spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure most of you who have already kept up with the anime or gone through the character profile videos, Shark as well as his sister are both one of the few Baryon Emperors as well. So that's actually one of the few curious kind of tidbits I realized from whenever their dual encounters do occur. So we still haven't scratched that part of the entire storyline for the Baryon series, and most probably we'll be getting it in as a late game content or whatsoever, but regardless it's still something new because Alito getting introduced and whatnot. But aside from that, from Arc 5 perspective however, Arc 5 we managed to obtain about 3 of the U-boys thus far. We have Yugioh, Muto, and finally Yugioh recently being added to the game. So we have 3 of the U-boys. The last one is Yuri because he's from the Fusion Dimension as well as the other clones of the female Zuzu Boyle, as well as Serena, and also the other 2 as well. But aside from the Arc 5 series, we also have some characters that are kinda lacking, that isn't as mainstayable as you see in the anime thus far. But overall, I do look forward to seeing more of them interact in terms of being more present in the game. And there's another one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Link Brains. So Link Brains, we barely scratched the surface on the Eye and the other Ignis kind of storyline, because we only managed to get Revolver as well as Blue Angel being added to the game thus far. So there's actually there's a lot more side characters inside the Yu-Gi-Oh! Link Brains storyline. So aside from the main storyline of having the Ignis, as well as the one with the, what's it called again? What's that organization that's being led by Varus again? I kind of forgot all about that. I kind of forgot the name, because that doesn't actually quite stay in my mind. Okay, Knights of Hanoi, yeah, now that I remember about it. So essentially there isn't actually much in terms of that. The storyline hasn't actually progressed thus far. Not to mention we have a few side characters within the game as well that's not quite prevalent. And I do hope that they actually do appear later on. So essentially when it comes to the storylines for most of the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, so Link Brains we still have quite a lot to cover in terms of events. Arc 5 as well, along with a bit of Zexal. But for the rest, like GX and 5Ds and the original series, we can honestly say it's pretty much done and there's never gonna be anything new. Unless they want to bring in some other new characters like the manga character counterparts, for example, like Pegasus' son, who uses the wicked gods, kind of like the different variations of Egyptian gods, but I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. And anyways, that's all my thoughts in terms of world expanding, as well as Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's being added to the game thus far. I mean, we get good free gems, that's pretty sweet. Not to mention with the new dual quest being added, we also have the new Chaos Xyz monster, Comics Hero Legend King Arthur. So essentially, if you have the original Comics Hero Legend Arthur, you pretty much gotta have it already, because it was a It's an SR card if I remember correctly. And for it to be a Chaos Xyz monster, that's pretty decent as well. However, I do feel that there's much more to be expanded in terms of the game thus far. And aside from that, I am guessing there isn't actually anything new in terms of it all anyways. Okay, sorry about that. I was on a work call, so. Where was I? Oh, yes. Current new decks I've been trying out on my own thus far for deck building. I've been trying out, let's say, Dino Wrestlers, for example.
Dino's made sure you're the one who's extinct.
So there's essentially a lot of decks currently available in your Duel Links, and Dino Wrestlers, although it is one of them, there isn't actually much cards in relation to them thus far that I can say. So first up, we have the three main cards along with a few others like in comparison to Gokis, these actually aren't as good as compared as the Goki counterparts. Guess we have much more Link monsters in Goki compared to Dino Wrestlers, sadly. Yay. There isn't actually much Dino Wrestlers Link monsters thus far, so if you click into the related card thus far, we basically have the main deck monsters as well as one Dino Wrestler Link monster, which is kind of sad overall. I mean, there should be much more like Link monsters or fusion monsters featuring Dino Wrestlers if I remember correctly based on my own memory. But this is what I can do thus so far because there isn't actually much I can do. Tail Swipe, although it's a pretty decent card to have, especially with the the conditions like Dino Wrestler Ermamanchi, you can essentially normal summon this if you already control a Dino Wrestler on the field. And if you have Dino Wrestler Valuonix in your hand, special summon onto the field and voila, just like that, you can normal summon this monster onto the field. With 2200 points of attack and also 1600 on the spot, you can go into Link 2 on the first turn. However, on the other hand, there isn't actually a Link 2 Dino Wrestler monster in the game yet. I mean, so far as I know of. So let's just check out Link and then Link 2. Any good ones we can use for the deck. Shaman of Tenny is one of the few cards that I actually enjoy using a Tenny deck because you get to discard and special summon, so you can just swap out and special summon a high level world monster from your graveyard just like that. And it doesn't have to specify to be a normal monster, a non-effect or an effect monster, so that's a pretty nice decent effect to go overall. Link 2 like Overburst Dragon, maybe not really, because it requires rockets. And also Baba Barber on the other hand, 200 points of attack, and the effect of each battle phase, target discard for one monster, discard points to banish until end phase, and that's basically it. And you can't do much about that. Booster Dragon, nope. Rocket support deck, Crusader Regulex, 2 effect monsters, that's basically, yeah, we can do that, but it requires a Crusader monster as well. Extra hero, what Honda Driver, that's all heroes. Nightmare Cerberus. I mean, I can put Nightmares into a Dino Wrestler deck, don't get me wrong. But then again, it's hard to actually say yes or say no to this because its effect is pretty good. Don't get me wrong, this card is Link Summon, discard a card, target a special monster in your opponent's main monster zone, destroy it, and if this card was co-linked when this effect was activated, then draw a card. So upon summoning, you get to pop something on your opponent's main monster zone. That's a pretty nice effect. But if I were to go into Link Summoning, I want something that will be actually have much more field presence than on summoning effects overall. Like if I were to summon, let's say Dino Wrestler King T-Wrestle, high attack points, we got that. If this card battles, opponent can activate spell or traps, that's pretty good. The opponent monsters can target monsters for attack except this one, that's actually pretty good. You need something with field presence when it comes to Dino Wrestlers, and thus far for most of the cards in the list, they are just not it. They either need Cyber's monsters or certain monsters are special, like their own individual kind of archetype, if I could say it like that. I mean, I can add something like land for Fincus, for example, but I don't think that will actually be enough in terms of attack points and getting over some effects. Nightmare Phoenix is a pretty generic one that everyone actually enjoys using with 1900 points of attack. Discard a card, destroy a spell or trap. Then this card was co-linked when this card is activated, then draw a card. Then after that, you can only use this effect once per turn, and the co-linked monsters cannot be destroyed by a battle. So this is what I'm kind of saying, they actually have good supports to go off on each other for the Nightmare series, as you can see for yourself. Cards like Binary Blader requires normal monsters. I mean, if I can use this in a Tenny deck, I mean it will work. However, there goes to one part, the Tenny monsters require normal monsters to be on the field to be special summoned. So they're not necessarily all normal monsters, so yeah, that's kinda out of the picture. I mean, it would work if it were Gemini, I guess. Next is Protocol Gardener, Cyber's Monster, Binary Blader, We Wish Apprentice, Firefighting Daruma Doll, definitely out of the question, Honeybot as well. And yeah, Panda Stack, I mean, yeah, I guess I can add this card into the deck as to do piercing battle damage. But in the long run, I mean, it's fine because it's Link 2 by the way, so that should be okay. However, there aren't actually other support cards that I can use. Most of them are either restricted by their own archetype or they are on summon effects and nothing else, as well as Security Dragon, which is about requires to be co-linked, that kind of thing, you know. Sadly, there isn't actually much for me to actually use in my inventory. So I guess that's basically much all I can do for Dino Wrestlers. But aside from Dino Wrestlers, at least I got my Tenny deck done real quick. At least it's pretty decent in certain points of view, I guess. If you want to say it's good, you want to say it's bad, I can't tell you because all I can say, this deck works, I guess. So starting fresh off with Candy, Spirit Vishuddha, one Adhara. I got rid of the other Adhara because I made space for just a break. Activate only when your opponent declares an attack against a face-up normal monster you control. Destroy all monsters on the field except face-up attack position normal monsters. So essentially, Monk of Tenny is considered a link monster, so non-effect. However, if you have something like Mystery Shell Dragon, I guess that could work, along with Metaphys Armed Dragon. So this card is the only weird one of the entire mix, because I needed to find a proper worm kind of their own individual effects. So first up, Metaphys Daedalus is essentially for the Metaphys archetype, and every time as per usual when you play Metaphys, they get banished. Poof! Just like that, they're gone. And you can't say anything about it. And Dragon Dowser, I mean, destroyed by battle, and card effects and graveyard, spell summon Earth Pendulum monsters with a Pendulum support card. Tatsunoko is a synchro monster. If it's used as a synchro material monster, it can be used as another synchro material as well, so it's a pretty good synchros assist kind of deck. Next up is Ryu Okami. So if your opponent special summons a monster, your opponent sends a card from their extra deck to the graveyard. And what if my opponent doesn't have an extra deck? Well, then this card is pretty much useless at that point, I guess. 2900 attack points as well, so nope. Birds of Paradise Lost. Gains 100 attack and defense for each tuner monster in your graveyard. Once per turn, send a tuner monster in your hand to your graveyard, then target a monster your opponent controls. Take control of it until the end phase. This could actually have potential in a 10E deck overall. However, this also means that you gotta play the synchro for 10E monsters. So, for example, Draco Berserker of the 10E, level 8 pre-generic, and it doesn't have any much restriction aside from a tuner and non-tuner monster. When your opponent activates a monster effect, put effect banish it. If this attacking card destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, this card gains attack equal to destroyed monster's original attack. Also, you can make a second attack on a monster during this battle phase. You can only activate each of the effects once per turn. So you have the two options of either banishing a monster that's activating its effect, or you can have an attack gain and do a second attack during that turn. On monsters as well, so if you're planning to do a direct attack, forget it, you can only do a second attack on a monster. So that's kind of why I don't want to add this into my 10E deck, other than the fact that I have to play tuner monsters in the deck thus far. I mean, there are some normal tuners out there, but yeah, not really. 10E Spirit Ashuna is something that I recently obtained as well, but I never tried it for myself. You can special summon this card, blah blah blah, banish this card from your hand or graveyard, special summon a 10E monster from your deck except 10E Spirit Ashuna. You can special summon any other monsters for the rest of the turn except worm type monsters. So I mean, if you're playing a 10E deck, that would be no problem, but for me, because I'm playing a mix of Land Fornicus because of the Link 2 restrictions, I mean, just for the points of non-effect monster, that's pretty much I play this card. If I were to obtain a few more copies of Monk of Tenny or something, then maybe I can go for it as well. But aside from that, there are also like Yahtzee Evil the Yanzing, Agave Dragon, True King or Akma Dude. This card's in your hand, blah blah blah. And then after that, you can, let's see, destroy 2 of the monsters in your hand or face up on the field, including a fire monster. If you do, special summon this card and you get banish a monster from your opponent's field or graveyard. If both destroyed monsters were fire, this card can be destroyed by, if this card destroyed by card effect, add a non-fire worm type monster from your graveyard to your hand. So essentially, it can be splashable into this 10E Spirit deck because we have Mapura being the only fire worm 10E monster in the deck anyways. I mean, I can use it, I can get rid of 10E Spirit Adara, but there are certain times that if you already used up the special summoning for all these 3 or this 4 during that turn, and you want to have that extra special summoning condition, then yeah, might as well just keep one Adara just to use as a link fodder in terms of that. But other link monsters aren't actually as interesting, like Zaxxercy, Yanzing, and Yanzing. So if you want to compare in terms of those, then yeah, you're pretty much out the shitter, man. must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 5 mana fists with different names from your graveyard or face up from the field. So that's the problem when it comes to playing mana fists. If you do not have any means of sending those monsters to the graveyard or on the field of 3 copies, then you pretty much have no way of spell summoning this card. Not to mention, I can't spell summon this because of its own effect using Tenny Shaman anyways. So that's the sad part of it all. There are other worm type monsters like Malefic Tyrant Dragon, special summon on the spot, can do multiple effects. So that's actually one of the things I'm actually considering about. Maybe I can swap a few of the other worm type monsters just to make it a much bit more interesting. But overall, it's kind of restrictive in terms of that. So the only decks I managed to get Alito are Battling Boxers and Tennies. But for Quinton, on the other hand, I gave him something a bit more special. And that special deck is essentially a Black Luster Soldier deck. So by obtaining 2 copies of this legendary swordsman from the new box, I even managed to obtain a nice prismatic copy one, so yay for me. But thus far, in terms of it all, I'm building this deck in this way because this deck relies heavily on going to ritual summoning, and as you can see, I only got 4 ritual Black Luster Soldier monsters, so I gotta have some other forms of assurance throughout the deck if I do not obtain either the ritual monster or the ritual spell. You can say that I should add much more of the ritual spells into the deck, but at the same time, I do not want to add that form of clogging to the point of if I have all the ritual spells and the materials needed but I do not have the ritual monster, then I can most probably go into XC something like Malevolent Sin, Dark Rebellion, or even Steel Swarm Roach. So speaking of Steel Swarm, I also built a deck for Steel Swarm as well, and essentially I kinda find it fun thus far. Where is he? There you are, Steel Swarm. Alright. So this deck isn't anything as special as the others if you want to talk in comparison of that. Because I'm using a Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation, Bahamut, Kachikochi, Roach, Evil Swarm Ouroboros, and also Evil Swarm Thanatos. So the fun part about the L Swarm series is that they have some support cards like Infestation Infection, as well as Infestation Terminus, and as well as a spell card. Where's the spell card? Ah, there you are, Infestation Pandemic. So essentially, if you have multiple copies of these cards, then you can essentially build a deck surrounding it. But the thing about L Swarm is that they require it to be destroyed, to be vanished, or have some certain effects go up before you can do anything. And thus far, I'm using it just for the special summon condition as well. I just add in Giga Race Gandora just for kicks to see if my opponent wants to negate the effect or not. But as I know, no one's gonna negate the effect if I have nothing with the Gandora name in the graveyard. And that's pretty sad. So I'm actually gonna use it against Grandpa right now, just to show how, if I remember how to play this deck essentially. And I don't have enough keys for level 30. Let's go for level 20 instead. So there it is, Steel Swarm. Let's see how I do it. How did I build this deck? I don't quite remember, to be honest.
I'll take you on.
There's no duel.
Huh. Okay.
Here I go. It's my turn. I'll set this monster.
Alright.
I'm setting a card. I activate the continuous
Card
spell.
trader.
That ends my turn.
It's my turn. I draw.
Banish Yugioh, return the second target to hand. I mean, yeah, sure, why not? We'll just normal summon this.
You got this.
And then we'll just set this card, because we'll be using the reshuffling effect quite a fair bit of times during this match. Oh, Morphing Jar, perfect. Should have been.
I end my turn.
looks like I draw.
Okay.
I'll use card trader's
Oh, nice.
effect.
We both have cards we can shuffle back
I
to deck.
won't let you.
Just that mine is
I'm
only
flipping over
for
my
Elf
set
Swarms.
card.
So let's
I
see what I
activate
can
a
send back to
continuous
Zach.
trap.
Let's just send this one back to Zach. Adding back to hand. Okay, I'm just gonna add this one because it's a steel swarm anyway, so we can do later on.
I'm activating the spell
Let's
card.
see.
Despair.
Sorry, but it ain't much.
I'll set a monster. That ends my
Okay.
turn.
It's my turn. I draw.
Activate card
Roll my
duality.
hand.
Let's see what I have in
I'm
top 3
activating the
cards.
spell card.
Wow, this is just amazing. Seriously, how did I even play this deck in the past?
From my hand, I activate a quick
Let's just
play
pop
spell.
that.
You got this. I'm summoning Flex.
Proceed to
Go.
battle.
Attack.
Which of the
I
black
see
forest?
that Witch of the Black Forest went to the graveyard.
Oh, you even got the OG summon skull as well.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Direct attack.
It's not over yet.
Okay. So essentially,
I end
this
Here I
deck
go.
sucks.
It's my
How did I
draw.
play this deck? I do not know. Don't
I'll
ask
use
me.
card trader's effect.
I honestly don't know how I played this deck, and I suck at it. How did I even build this? Holy crap.
Beaver Warrior. That ends
Okay.
my turn.
It's my
Oh,
turn.
okay.
I draw.
This is a very disappointing deck. I really need to do a full overhaul of this entire deck.
I'm summoning a
Because
monster.
thus far, it is not impressing anyone. Least of all me. 2 Elf Swarm monster, detach material, target face out, discard Elf Swarm. If you do, take control of that opponent's monster. Oh, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty nice. And Seal Swarm Roach, during either player's phase, level 5 or higher will be special summon, detach, negate the effect, and destroy it. Or we also have other cards like Evil Swarm Ouroboros, which is essentially a pretty good card if you have a deck that essentially allows you to special summon a lot of monsters, level 4 monsters. I do recommend you having this card as one of the few Xyz cards or even Kachikochi Dragon. But thus far we can also use Evil Swarm Bahamut if we like to as well, since the artwork is pretty nice.
I'll play this. I exceed summon a monster. I activate my monster's effect.
Detach one effect, give me your monster, and discard one Evil Swarm Phaeton onto the field, and we can go into another Xyz summon. Let's go into Duel Swarm Roach.
You got this. I build the overlay
So that's pretty much why a lot of people,
Xyz
some
summon.
people actually want to get Evil Swarm Bahamut, other than the fact that it was pretty good. The fact it's pretty good at taking control of monsters, as well as the fact you can go into double Xyz summon during this turn. So that's one thing I like about the Evil Swarm's Xyz monsters, because even though some of the main deck monsters are kind of iffy at best, at least we have the Xyz monsters to go into much more playable forms. But aside from the main deck monsters level 4 not having as much as good effects to go over it all, there are actually higher level Steel Swarm monsters that we can play that requires much more tributes, which are slower to bring out. But if you're planning to play Steel Swarms, I do recommend do not follow my deck, because this is a mess. I mean, look at this, like, why do I have this card here? Why am I using this? Okay, I guess I can understand why I'm using this. Why am I using Evil Swarm Keraton? I don't know. Why am I using this? I don't know. This card doesn't even do anything. Because essentially, if this card is sent to the graveyard, target a face-up ritual fusion of Synchro on the field and pop it. That's a good effect, right? But how often will I be able to do that? Gatekeeper is another one as well. So essentially, I can go for another normal summon after I tribute summon as well. So your stack, that's one, because it allows you to tribute summon using one Steel Swarm monster, and other than that, nothing much. What a mess. What a mess. Other deck exploration in terms of what I feel have potential. Let's see, let's have a look at my inventory. I mean, Duel Avatar is pretty interesting. Although I'm not quite invested in like the archetype, I'm not used to the playstyle anyways. So Duel Avatar fits Yuhi. Wait, we only have 2 main deck monsters? What the heck, man? What? Okay, are you mean to tell me that we have only 2 main deck monsters for Duel Avatars? And somehow this deck is supposed to be played? Okay, let's just type it in Duel Avatar just to be sure. I don't want to be the idiot. Wow, just 2 main deck monsters. Okay, at least this requires 3 fusion materials. This requires 3 fusion materials. This requires 2 fusion materials. At least it's 2 only because we only have 2 main deck monsters. And this last one requires 2 as well. I mean, it's fine to use these 2, but oh my gosh, how am I supposed to play this? That's interestingly underwhelming. But aside from here and him, what else did I build? What kind of deck did I actually play? Like, holy crap!
If power's what you want,
Leave it to me. Anna Kaboom will take care
Deck
of
not
everything.
set. Deck not set. What is this? What is this deck that I did not set? What is this deck that I did not set? Oh, Infinitrax, okay. Well, at least this works. So, Infinitrax are also machine-type monsters, but if you can see from their effects, some of them have pretty high defense points, and you may have the first misconception, oh, maybe they're like super heavy samurais, but not really. So, essentially, their effects go off like so. If you actually have this card, Infinitrax Anchor Drill, then your deck is pretty much set. However, if you do not have any anchor drills, then you might have a bit of a hard time bringing out these high level monsters unless you have Super Team Body Force, so you can go into the XC summoning and also copying each other's levels and going up each other's effects to essentially go into the XC's monsters or even the Link monsters. And to be honest, if you're going to go for the Link monster, then yeah, it's at least there's a Link monster if you know what I'm talking about. The deck itself is pretty good to play. And I think I'll just try it out for myself. How do I play this deck? I feel like I'm having amnesia. Like half of the things I look at here, I'm like, how do I play this again? Damn, what the heck am I doing?
Duel first, talk
How do I
or
play this
duel.
deck?
All aboard.
Okay,
It's
active
my
turn
turn.
track monster. Alright, that's
From
fine.
my hand, I activate a
Let's add
continuous
1 copy of
spell.
Anchor Drill into our hand.
I'll play this.
Anchor
My
Drill's effect
monster's
goes off,
effect
and we can special
activates.
summon Trencher onto the field.
Appear.
Defense
I
position,
special
as it
summon,
should be.
I set a card.
After that, you can activate from a game effect on turn to drag C's, blah blah blah. So this is essentially like a rank up XC's card. Okay. This has been too long. How do I play this deck in
My
the past?
turn.
Bring
I
it on.
draw. I set. I'll now end my turn.
I draw.
You may tribute 1 of machine spell you from your hand. If you do damage, it's got a good and target low fire, low infinite threat, effect, special summon that in defense position. So this one is essentially this card normal special summon, gonna activate the effect first.
My monster's effect
Anchor Duel's
activates.
effect. Copy. And go into our XC summoning for a Dyson Sphere. So that's actually one of the fastest ways to go into level 9.
I'll play this. I exceed summon a
Huh,
monster.
eat your heart out, Quinton. Wait, I can go even higher. Can I?
From my hand, I activate a continuous spell. Battle, go! My
I
monster
won't let you
attack.
do that. I activate my monster's effect.
Uh-huh.
I end
Here I
my
go.
turn.
I
Bring it
draw.
on.
I'll set a okay.
All
I end my
aboard.
turn.
I draw. Time to out of my way.
Okay, this deck is
I
kind of
attack
slow.
with I
Or
end
maybe
my
I kind of
turn.
fucked up the combo right
Bring
there
it
and there.
Here I go. I draw. I'll set him on. I'll now end
All
my turn.
forward. I draw.
Yeah, I think I kind of fucked up the combo there.
Time to take this. I attack
I
with
won't
my
let you do that.
Okay,
Let's
Pin
go.
Topper.
I special summon the
I
mod.
end my
Okay.
turn.
What are you planning to do now?
Bring it on.
From my hand, I activate my field spell. I activate my okay. I
Okay.
special summon. I know what to do.
Uh-huh.
I
XC summoning.
You're up. I exceed summon a monster. I activate my
Luckily,
monster's effect.
I got
Okay.
this.
I
All
end my turn.
aboard. I draw. Battle. Go. I attack with my monster.
Not
I
pretty
end
smart
my
of you, I
turn.
guess.
Bring
I
it
draw.
on.
I'll now end my
Okay,
turn.
Here
I mean,
I
I'm
go.
done, but
I draw.
come on.
Appear. I summon my monster's effect activates. I'll play this. I my monster's effect activates.
Goodbye, Anchor Drill. You were pretty useful up to
Join
a
the
point.
duel. I special
And
summon
now
a
we can go into
monster.
XC summoning something much more useful during this turn. Riverstorm.
Oh yeah! I exceed summon a monster.
Plus Riverstorm, it destroys power attack as a material. Okay.
Time to go! Boom! My monster's effect
Gimme.
activate. Take this. My monster attacks you.
What should I do?
Victory
I
is just
draw.
up ahead.
I said
I end.
not good. So
There's
not
no
good.
escape for
I end my
draw.
turn.
Let's see, detach material, take a health machine at the hand of center graveyard, using a graveyard to build one. And the other effect is that the opponent can target the machine, draw someone extra that 2 ranks higher, so this can go into rank 7, which is essentially Mountain Smasher. So the effect, detach material gain 1000 attack points. So essentially I can build up my materials by using its original effect anyway.
Stop right there. Now. I
Give me
activate
My
my
monster's
monster's
mine.
effect.
Activate.
And attack
Out of my
directly.
way. My monster
This
attacks.
deck is kind of slow, I guess. I think in the past when I was much more familiar with the deck, I would have done much faster job at it. But whatever. Whatever floats my boat. That was kind of disappointing, to be frank. Okay, Grandpa. Let's spend some quality time together.
Get ready.
Who should I play with Grandpa next? Orgoth? Who?
You will see that my strategies.
Very well. Let us begin.
Guardians. Oh, let's just use Guardians, because if this, let me check how I built my Guardians deck, to be frank. I think it's a very basic build. Holy crap. What is this? Oh, I don't think I updated this deck yet. It doesn't have any link monsters or whatsoever. Okay, fine. Let's see if I can beat you with my old deck. If I remember how to play it.
Duel!
Yes.
Prepare yourself.
Let's just normal summon Berserk Gorilla and we'll just find out soon.
That ends my Looks like I draw. From my hand, I'm activating a spell. From my hand, from my hand. That ends my turn. My trap. Draw. Come out! I summon a monster in it from my hand. I activate an equip spell.
Let's just beef up a Berserk Gorilla in this case because there's definitely nothing I can do. What was I doing when I built this deck? I think I built this when the Dark Sinus came out during 5 weeks. That's how I managed to get in this Infernity fighting his deck. But holy crap, what is this build? What was I doing? Was I even thinking? Oh my god, no, let's overhaul this deck. Because this is just too sad to look at. Berserk Gorilla, you were pretty decent at certain points. But I don't know why you're here in the first place. You as well, Gaia the Magical Knight. Lord Gaia the Fierce Knight. I mean, yeah, first turn summoning, but if I draw into you late game, I don't know what to do with you. Monster Reborn as well. Why are you here? I do not know. My goodness, what is this deck? What am I doing with this deck? Holy crap. What other guardians that I can use for a guardian deck? Let's see. Main deck monsters, I don't look at anything else. Guardian Sphinx, not considered. Guardian Millennium Golem. Celtic Guardian, not really a guardian monster, but whatever. Oh my goodness, Great Guardian, why the heck are you here? Infernity, oh that's right! Because Arsenal's effect, add a Guardian from deck except Celtic Guardian, win Dragon Guardian of the Fortress, win Guardian of Fortress 2, Guardian of the Labyrinth, and the Reliable Guardian. So that's why I have this card in my deck. Oh, kinda smart to be honest at this. Flamethrower Guard is one of the weird ones popping up. I don't know why, but okay, I guess. Anomaly Tool Guardian. Build spell, then special summon immediately. Okay, I guess. Guardian yes. Lost Guardian. Why? Why did I even build this deck? What's the point? You know what? Screw this. If I'm gonna play a Guardians deck, I'm gonna do it properly. Let's see, there's anything else here. Another Flamethrower Guardian here. Why not? It's only level 1 tuner anyway. First Guardian, Fairy type, level 2 tuner. I mean, yeah, sure. But what can I sink her into? Level 7, level 8. I mean, sure. Let's just try it out. Because we're just building our deck to see what works, I guess. Oh my god, how much brain cells did I even use to build this deck? My goodness. sometimes I question my own sanity. I don't even know how or why I even built these decks, to be frank. Aqua, Grado, Rampage, and Staghorn. I mean, yeah, we never see that summon before, never used that before, so why not? Let's just splash it in. It's generic enough. Oh yeah, Earth's Arctic. I never got around to building this deck. Well, considering the fact half of the cards I have are pretty meh, I guess. What is this? What is this shit? What is this? What is this? They're all high leveled. Ow. And why? I really need to overhaul a lot of shit just to build these. Jesus Christ Almighty. What was going through my mind? At least Trishula is useful to an extent. Let's just throw you in. At this point, I'm doing whatever floats my boat at this part. My gosh. What was I thinking? You know what? This should be fine. This should be fine, right? Anyways, hello my friend. Let me test if I can't even beat if I'm struggling against a level 10 NPC. I don't know how I'm gonna struggle against a PvP duelist or even KC Cup later on. My god.
From Duel. I'll teach
Okay.
you to stay out of the water. My turn is complete.
Yourself. Draw.
That,
I set my monster.
then we'll just set another,
set my
then we'll end
card.
up there
That
right there.
ends my turn.
I draw.
As pitiful
I'll
as
teach you
this
to
deck
stay out of
is.
the water. Left, there's a storm coming for you.
Sure, why not?
My
Go ahead.
monster
Take
shall
damage.
attack. Ah,
Look upon your
Flip
doom.
effect. Come on.
My monster's
Come to
effect
daddy. Soul
activates.
Guardian.
my turn is
Falling into
complete.
my trap. Draw.
I'm just gonna set another Osmo Summoner.
I set my monster face down. That ends my turn.
I draw. I'll show you no mercy. Time behold. My monster
Take
shall
damage.
attack.
1500 in your face.
Judgment.
Change direction. 200 burn.
Ah,
Congratulations
I
on it.
won't give up.
My monster's
must
Let's
effect
see what else
activates.
can I add here. I'll get this one instead.
I end
How
my
much
turn.
more punishment are you willing? I draw.
Let's just gonna summon this one onto the field.
I summon a monster in attack
You can
position.
go into Rampaging Dragon, Smash, Tank, Rhino, Saber. Discard any number of cards, gain 700 attack points. Or just single summon back as 3 cards the opponent controls, blah blah blah. Let's just do this instead. Because I'm lacking a lot of brain cells at this moment.
I synchro summon a monster. My monster's effect
1,
activates.
2, and 3. Why not? Let's just boost Crystall's attack points
I
anyway.
activate an equip spell.
Damn, this isn't called Peak Depression, I don't know what
I
is.
activate an equip spell. Time to
And that's pretty much why I don't stream, because I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, or half the deck I built thus far. Fuck this shit, I'm out. And this is why I do videos instead of real life recordings, real life streaming. I suck at talking.
No retreat. Observe.
I'm too tired anyways.
You're not
So
prepared
there you
for
have it.
this. My dinos made
Let's
sure you're the
see.
one who's
Tyrant
extinct.
deck. This is so tiring. Come on. We're all tired. Come on, Grandpa. You may be Grandpa, but we're as tired as you are, so let's get this crap over with, and just let me grind your cumulative reward system. At this point, I'm just tired out as I am. Whee.
You want to be stopped or stamped?
Wait, why is there like... I don't even have shit going
Time
on
to
right now.
stop this
Duel!
I'm just talking crap.
It's my turn.
Okay, let's see. Normal summon damage of value next onto the
You're not
field.
prepared for
With
this.
the set one
summon a
force in
high
defense
second
in
card.
a back row
I end
and
my
I'll turn because we're dumb as
I
fuck.
draw. I'm activating the spell card.
Oh
Dispel.
yay! Congratulations! You destroyed something that
Here
isn't
I
actually
come.
worth destroying.
My
So
turn. I
good
draw a
job.
card.
Next up, then just gonna bring this guy out. Askaramenshi. Why
You're
are the
not
long
prepared for
convoluted
this.
names?
I summon a monster battle.
Even wrestler
You're
names
in
aren't
for-
that.
I'll use this to regain my life points.
That's it, Gramp?
The trap card morphing charge flip effect activates.
Oh, thank
You're in
you.
for
I
a
appreciate
licking.
that mulligan. Thank you
My
so
monster
much.
attacks
You're
your
such
life
considerate
directly.
grandpa.
I end my
I'll be
turn.
sure
I
to end you
go.
next turn.
I draw. I activate the continuous
What
spell.
trader?
That
Oh,
is my
you
turn.
didn't have.
I draw a card.
Because now, I'm gonna rest.
From my hand, I activate a quick play spell.
La 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 la. Normal summon,
yeah.
no tribute. Thank you
I
very
summon a
much.
monster in a
Set these two in the back row just in case it's another morphing job, but I hardly doubt it. Wow, Exodia part. That's cute. Okay, goodbye, Grandpa. See you in the retirement home.
I attack your life point.
The next
I need to get some brain cells back. Holy crap. I feel dumber than usual today. Oh, but yeah, from work, everything, it's... I guess a lot of my brain cells and creativity juices have been drained left and right. Oh, yay, Grandpa
My
is
dinos make
back.
sure you're the one
Alright,
who's
who shall we
extinct.
use to play? Who shall we use to torment our beloved old man? You know what,
Am I confident in my dueling?
Tristan?
Not at all.
I'll let you do this time. Thunder Reptiles is what this deck is called, and you'll know when you see it, alright, so let's go. I'm practically using a meme character right now against Grandpa. Look at that!
It's my turn. I activate Thunder Dragon's effect. I'm setting a card.
Look at that!
I end my turn.
looks like I draw. From my hand,
Okay,
I'm
Golden
activating
Shark.
a spell card. Treasure Panda.
Yay, that's so
From
cute.
my hand,
Okay,
I'm
nice.
activating a Continta
Nice
Treasure
panda.
Panda. Attack!
Okay, hit me. Hit me as much
It's
as you
my
want.
turn. I draw.
I'll be sure to return the favor.
I'll go. Battle! Gagagigo! Attack! I end my turn.
Alright,
Looks like I draw.
or you can bring out Gambler.
I activate the
Card
continuous spell.
Trader.
Card Trader.
Here
I
I
did
go.
I didn't say I was
I draw.
disappointed. Wait, what's this? No, why would I do that? Damn it, Tristan.
I'll go with Attack!
Okay, add one card from back to hand. It's gonna be an Exodia piece. Don't worry, it'll take time for him to bring out the Exodia anyway.
I attack you directly!
This is not cool.
Thunder Dragon 100 Thunders, and now comes
My
out one
trap
Thunder Dragon.
activates. I summon
I would
Thunder
prefer to
Dragon.
have at least brought out the fusion to go for this last attack, but
I attack you
yeah,
directly.
what can you do?
I hope.
That's
Okay, it's official! Level 50 Summon Muto sucks. I just brought a pretty crap deck to deal with him. Even let him have the first hit on me. Man, it was too rough on you. Really, Gramps? I was playing as slow as you. And now I'm gonna play with slow against Ishizu. So Gramps, watch and learn. Watch how a young man struggles to play
As
a deck like this.
Here I go.
Uh-huh.
My turn. I'll go with.
Let's
I
go.
set a card. I end my,
my
turn.
turn. I draw. I set. I end my
Here
turn.
I go.
Why? Why your
My
monster
turn. I
face down?
draw. I'll go with.
I didn't even play Xyz in this deck. This is basically a Thunder
Let's
Dragon
bat.
vanilla deck.
Kakakigo. Attack.
What was I thinking?
Gravekeeper's Recruiter's effect activates.
There's so much I can do.
Here I go. My monster attack. I end
You
my
will.
turn.
My turn.
Okay,
I draw.
what do
My
you have,
field spell card
Ishizu?
activates.
Macro Valley.
Arrive. Gravekeeper, it's my battle
All
phase.
Gravekeepers negate a
Gravekeeper
card
Spear
effect that move
Soldier.
a card to a
Attack.
different place.
Lunging spear assault.
Okay.
I
It's
end
my
my
turn.
turn.
I draw.
Normal summon.
All right. I tribute summon a monster. Let's battle. Here I go. I attack using my monster.
Oh, light.
Good.
It's my
I
turn.
end my turn.
I bring out
Assailant?
Gravekeeper's Assailant.
Mhm.
It's my monster's effect activates.
Target points for each spell. Oh, okay. So you want to do it like that, huh?
Don't think so. My monster's effect activates. I summon Thunder Dragon.
My
Okay.
I'm
turn
gonna
comes
win.
to an end.
I'm
Let's
really
do
gonna.
this.
I draw. I activate Thunder Dragon's effect.
Okay, when this card declares attack when Necro Valley is on the field. And I know
activate
what
the
that
spell
set card is.
Polymerization.
Thankfully, my tributed monster has already been sent to the graveyard.
Will this
For
work?
this turn, it's
Guess
time
I'll
to say
find out.
goodbye to you.
I fusion summon a monster. Let's bat. Go! I attack using my monster.
My future is getting cloudy.
Here's my face down
Let's
card.
just see if this works.
My trap activates.
Definitely not
Good.
at all.
My
I end my turn.
turn. I activate my trap card, Rite of Spirit.
Okay, right of spirit. Okay, that's cute.
I shall play. My monster's effect activates. Let us back. Allow me to proceed. My monster attacks.
That's not gonna work. My monster's effect activates. It's my
My
Oh,
turn
turn.
comes
that
to
hurts.
an end.
I draw.
Okay, we're just gonna... Alright, I guess this is basically it.
I'll go.
Come on, Ishizu, finish me off.
I end
It's
my
my
turn.
Finish me off, my friend.
I bring out Grave. It's my. Here I
Ah,
go.
yes.
I shall attack. Here I go.
Oh, that's a magic number right there. 2,500.
Destiny
Just at that
served.
exact amount. Just what you needed. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Okay, no good drops this time. That's pretty much fine. Hey, one gem. That's pretty good. Alright.
It's your hero, Tristan
Okay,
Taylor.
Orgop the
Duel
Relentless.
Monsters
How
is
do
one
I
of
build
my
this deck?
favorite games.
What's his deck again? I should really name my deck properly so I know what is what this time. Okay, Duke, what is in this? What? What is this deck again? BS Big Core. Of course it is. My airplane deck. Related cards. What else you got? BS Big Core, MK3. You control no monsters, normal summon for attributing. If you control a monster and control no monsters, special summon this card from your hand. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Why did I even build this deck? Sweet mother of god. Ah, this is what you call proper deck exploration, I guess. And how about this deck? How did I build this deck? Man, today has been a real downslope of disappointment, hasn't it? Okay, let's see. Moss Knight. Oh, it's my Moss Knight deck. Okay, it's a pretty decent one. Boxer, Lord Gaia, 2 level ups, 2 MSTs, 2 super team, and also 2 wall disruption. This is way much better than my many other decks. Come on then, let's see if I can remember how to play this deck. Trick is trick. Okay, so position altering deck. I'm fine with that. Oh.
Don't
I
disappoint.
feel sleepy.
Of course I'll do.
Holy
Duel
crap.
You want
Duel. My
What
turn.
is this? What is
I'll
this?
set a call.
I
What
won't
is
hold
game
back.
to?
My turn.
I draw. Show him who is boss. I summon a monster in attack position. I set
This
that
is why
ready.
level monsters are kind of hard to explain
My
properly.
Turn.
I
Because you
draw.
get into shit like this.
Here I go. I
Twin
summon
Sword
a
Marauder,
monster.
so let's go with the
do
attack.
this. Attack.
Aw.
I play my face
Nothing
down
else,
card.
let's just bring out level
I
5.
activate a trap card. Let's do this. My monster attack. I end my
I
turn.
remember if I built this deck correctly, it was effect burn, continuous effect burn, if I remember correctly.
It's my turn. I draw.
Awesome. Here's
Well,
my
I'm not gonna let you do that, my
hand.
friend.
My
I
continuous
activate a
trap
quick play
activates.
spell. I activate my monster's effect.
I just use the one from the deck.
Check
I
this
want to
out.
thin out as much
I
useless
special
cards as I
summon
can.
a. I activate my monster's effect.
Aw. I have to
I
step
strike.
it up.
It's checkmate. Attack.
Piercing Bell damage by Twin Sword Marauder. Now I remember why I have this card in
You
the
got
deck.
It.
Okay. So this deck is actually one of the ones I was actually quite proud of to play in the past. Having both effect burn as well as piercing bell damage. Overall, still okay. Let's see. And now let's go back to Zaxel real quick because I want to use my Kaiju deck. Okay, move.
I'll
move.
steamroll there.
It's not yet time to make my move.
Kaiju, there you are, my love. Did I get rid of Obelisk yet? Yes, I got rid of Obelisk. Okay, at least it's something. Okay, little Tory Meadows. Let's duel. Going second, my favorite.
I
Let's
Duel.
duel! Here I go! Here's the chef's special.
Million curries.
Ice,
Nice.
ice, and my turn.
My turn.
You're up!
And there's a pretty
I
decent
draw.
hand. Pretty strong hand, to be honest.
From my
Go to a
hand,
waterfront.
I activate
Normal
a
summon
field
Gateway
up
Dragon
here.
onto the field.
I
Activate
summon
the
'em,
effect
I
once more.
activate
Bring
my
out
monster's
another
effect.
Gateway Dragon onto the field.
Watch this.
Activating Gateway
I
Dragon's effect
activate
once
my
more time.
monster's effect.
Evil Swarm Zahak
Watch
onto the
this.
field.
I
And now we
special
will
summon
go
a
into
monster.
either, let's say... Yes.
I'll play this. I special summon a monster.
We'll leave one Gateway Dragon out just to be sure.
Appear. I
Dark
exceed
Rebellion
summon a
Exceed
monster.
Dragon.
Time to cook things up with
Mystic
quick
Walk.
I regain my life points.
Okay, I did not see that coming. That
I
was pretty
activate
smart.
A field spell.
But still, not enough like that.
Time
There's
to
always
go.
the next turn,
My monster attacks. Go.
and
I attack you directly. It's still not the right
Let's see
time
who
to
sets
make
something
my
on the
move.
field right now.
My
Ah,
turn.
perfect.
I draw. I activate a field spell.
Let's add another Thunder King to your hand, because this is also why I play Kaiju.
I can't know.
So
how
you
a
get
bell
Montage
sounds.
Dragon if you have your full
Until I
hand of high level
strike it.
monsters.
You won't escape me.
Then you can have at
My
least
monster
a
take
100
this.
attack point Montage
My
Dragon on the
monster
field
attacks.
and
Have
ready to
you
go.
I know
looked
I
at
can
your
do better
life
than that.
points? This duel is over.
I
You
end my
can't
turn.
win.
Ah, yes.
I draw.
Wonderful.
I
Anyways,
activate a
Thunder
field
King
spell.
Dragon. Thunder King into my hand. And now Montage Dragon. 1, 2, 3. There we
I'll
go.
play this.
8100.
I
And
can't
serving
know how
you
a
on a
bell
silver
sounds. This
platter
will be
of
my
8100
final
attack
act of
points in the
kindness.
face.
My monster.
So if I manage to draw another Kaiju monster, or if I was able to summon, I'll use Dark Rebellion to
not
drain
good
the
enough to
attack
win?
points,
I didn't
and I'll
even
still
need
be
to-
able to obtain a much higher points of battle damage during that turn as well. So if you were to run the opponents who have a lot of spam attacks or send things to the graveyard for link summoning, spell or traps activation, then yeah, Kaijus are pretty much fun to go. But sadly, not much Kaijus are currently up for grabs. So far, we only have the main 3, if I remember correctly. Okay, so in terms of building a Kaiju deck, you want to have as much Kaiju to a certain extent. Like for example, Dargaran, this one, Thunder King, which you can obtain from Quinton's event. And this card is pretty much easy to obtain compared to the UR cards. I already have 16 plus 3, 19. I have 20 of these cards altogether. So 20 of these cards during that Quinton event, that was pretty easy. Whereas for Radeon, you can obtain from the selection box. So that's actually one of the few that you actually gotta really watch out for. But, yeah. So apparently if you also have, you are playing Kaiju deck and you have your whole stack of high level monsters in the mix, you don't actually have to worry, because as long as you're going second turn or more, you can essentially Kaiju their monster, then bring out your other Kaiju, destroy the Kaiju on that side of the field, and you have Kyoto Waterfront during that time. It'll gain counters and you'll be able to add much more Kaijus into your deck. I'm playing about 3 Gateway Dragons and 3 Zahak for the reason of going to Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. So that's actually kind of why I went into that combo earlier on. But if you manage to have 2 Gateway Dragon and 1 Zahak in your opening hand, you can also opt to go for a triple burst dragon during that turn as well if you want to, because that still counts as sending monsters from the field to the graveyard, adding into the Kyoto Waterfront counters. Magic Cylinder and also Mirror Force are just there just as a regular staple for most decks if you're trying them out for yourself. However, if this is your first time playing Kaiju and you do not want to use these 2 cards, I do recommend using cards like, let's see, Like for example, Counter Gate. So this is one of the few cards you can go for if you're going for your first time. I use Counter Gate when I go up again when I'm using my Yosenju deck, because in most cases, if I'm going first or I'm going second, and which leaves my field destroyed or empty, at least Counter Gate negates one attack and allows me to draw a card. And that card, it can be normal summoned onto the field. At least there's something there that I don't lose up during that match. But I think I've gotten comfortable with using the deck and how it runs already, so that's why I pretty much don't run it anymore. Instead, I opt for going for Magic Cylinder or Mirror Force just for a higher chance of destroying my opponent's field, or letting them take battle damage just like that, as easy as getting another card into hand. But the other factor when it comes to building decks, for my case, is that I really need to have a proper way of having a proper draw engine. Because the only ones that allow me to add cards from deck to hand is Kyoto Waterfront, and that apparently that is quite okay. However, cards like, for example, Power of Duality on the other hand, it restricts me from special summoning during the turn, which is why I do not want to run it in my Kaiju deck, because I'll be special summoning it to my opponent's side of the field. And for the other fact is that Montage Dragon can be special summon, one. All of my Kaijus are special summon. Montage is special summon. Gateway allows me to special summon, and along with the other extra deck monsters which are considered as special summoning as well. So which is kind of why I don't want to run my Power Duality in the deck. You can actually use it, but you might want to check on the drawbacks if you were to run into certain conditions, just to let you know, you know what I mean. So there's also, what is that function again? The one that allows you to try a sample draw. Okay, so in this beginning sample hand, for example, you'll see that I have Gateway Dragon. I can go into my Link monster, or go into my Dark Rebellion XC Dragon during that turn. And if I go for another draw, it's Kyoto Waterfront. And if I drew another sample draw, 1, 2, easily Dark Rebellion XC Dragon right after I Kaiju my opponent's side of the field. And that is in the condition that I'm going second during that turn. So overall, this Kaiju deck is playable, but you gotta watch out on how you want to play it. For my case, I'm using it as a going second deck. I guess it's because I'm playing Cyber Dragon for a long time, and also other decks that I've kind of gotten used to playing starting second in most of my duels. But thus far, I do feel that it's fine. I guess, as long as you know how your deck runs, and essentially how are you gonna confront certain conditions. It's okay if your extra deck isn't as glorious or packed up as every other YouTuber duelist recommend. You can put up to 3, you can put up to 1, or not use any at all, but at least have a few just that you can fit into a situation. Like Dark Rebellion XC Dragon, although you can use it, it's splashable in every other deck because of its requirement of only 2 level 4 monsters. You can splash it into any other decks along with MST and also Mirror Force, just for that trial sense of just to be sure if I am going up against certain opponents who are stronger than me, or even have a much higher chance of actually doing much more damage, or even have higher attack points overall. For Quinton's official deck that I've been trying to build for the life of me, BS Blaster Cannon. So this one is a tricky one because you get to special summon if your opponent has more monsters than you. So you can actually splash in other BS monsters that correlates to if you have no monster, special summon this. Then if your opponent has more monsters than you, special summon this. Or if you have no monsters, special summon this. As easy as that. I'm using Infinite Track Anchor Drill because this card is a good splashable effect for Earth Machine type monsters. You can go into your number 27 Dreadnought Dreadnought. Dreadnought Dreadnought on the other hand allows you to go into high levels of your XC summoning machine type monsters. Like I'm using Super Dimensional Robo Galaxy Destroyer. That's a pretty good card to have. 5k attack points, destroy all spells and trapped on the field, or on your opponent's side at least, by detaching a material. Yeah, why not? But number 9 Dyson Sphere on the other hand, I'm only using that when I match up 10 Galaxy Queen's Light. But other than that, I don't even want to use this if it comes to that. Other cards like Super Dreadnought, Gustav Max also is pretty good as well. So if you are considering on building a machine type deck, you can consider these Xyz monsters to be added into the deck so that you can deal much more damage or even go into higher Xyz as well. Like Juggernaut Leap on the other hand, if I were to add this card in, and let me tell you, if I have 3 materials from Dreadnought, then it becomes 4 materials when I go into Gustav Max, and if I conserve my materials and I go into my Juggernaut Leap, I would have a total of 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 1 equals to 5. So Juggernaut Leap will have 5 materials, and this effect of detaching a material to gain 2000 attack and defense. Oh, let me tell you, by the time you detach all your materials, this card will be over 10k attack points overall. And let me tell you, it's a lot. But if you are willing to go that far, then sure, why not? If you're not willing to go that far, then you want to go for a quick victory, then that's fine. You can stop at Gustav Max or even Super Dimensional Robo Galaxy Destroyer. This card can be obtained by participating in the ranked duels, so if you're like me and you're lazy on participating in ranked duels and you're just going to duel there just to fulfill the weekly task of dueling in 5 PvP matches to gain the gems, then yeah, why not? You can do it just like that. So luckily I was able to obtain this card and I'm pretty much content with it because hey, at least I don't actually have to go into level 10s to bring out this monster. Although most of Annika Bloom's level 10 monsters can essentially go into this card, but either way, it's still fine, it's still splashable, you can do whatever you want because it is your deck and it is you who will be using it to duel against other players. So for Grandpa's event on the other hand, I do feel that the event is pretty much chill, although the rewards kinda suck. This skill is okay overall. And then the fact of the Chao Sai, the Ghost Stopper. So Chao Sai, if you translate it to one of the Chinese dialects, it means a stink of poop, essentially. Yeah, that is essentially his name, sadly. I do not know why, unless there's a different pronunciation of Chao Sai or something, I'm not sure. But other than that, if I read in another dialect, it's a pretty much very offensive name. Fukubiki, I mean, overall, Grandpa's rewards could be better. They could be better, but whatever, right? For Yugioh 7s, on the other hand, my final thoughts about this being added into the Duel Links mechanic. Let's just say I'm not that excited about it, because when I saw the anime for Yugioh 7 being introduced, it was kind of no thank you, but I do not want it anyways. Because it kind of draws on the nostalgic point of view, and not to mention it's using new mechanics like the one with Blue Eyes White Dragon in the first episode. And the fact that you got the special summon, you can special summon everything in your hand just to fill out the zones. What's the difference of it compared to regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links or regular Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of that? I mean, aside from the childlike and the child protagonist and whatnot, I don't actually like the animation for that. Although I do still prefer they actually focus on expanding the current worlds that we have, because we have so much storylines that have yet to be completed in terms of Link Frame, Zexal, and Arc 5. I mean, look at this. You can literally make a lot of content out of all of this and even basically have fun with it. And you also cannot say that there isn't actually any other archetype or good decks to introduce into the entire line. Because for example, let's go back to Yu-Gi-Oh! To the original worlds real quick. Dino Wrestlers, for example, Gokis, as well as the few other Ignis monsters that you want to think about it. And Ignister is also one of the few archetypes that have yet to reach the conclusion of all the cards that they have. Tyrant deck, aka my Dino Wrestler deck, because it was originally a Tyrant Dragon deck, but I just swapped it out to make Dino Wrestlers just to see how the deck performs. So overall, if you click the related cards, these are all Dino Wrestlers have for the entire archetype. it's actually kind of sad because you only have these amount of monsters and only one Link monster, Dino Wrestler T-Rexel. You have no Link 2 Dino Wrestler monsters and no other Link monsters overall. Because if I would go click onto Link right now and filter, go to the extra deck and see, Tenyis, they have 1, 2, 3, and 4 monsters overall. That's actually pretty decent because of their effects. However, if you go to the archetypes such as Goki, where are you, Goki? There we go. Look, even Goki has about 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Link monsters. Their monster lineup is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 only. There are only 7 main deck monsters, but this deck functions very fast and can act very fast as well. This is one of the few archetypes that can actually go into YCS and stand alone with other decks as well. Other decks that I think really need some revamping and some work done is also in the topologic. Please let us have more topologic monsters because it's kind of restrictive only having one topologic Bomber Dragon when there is a lot of other topologic monsters altogether. I mean, random Link monsters being added like a Vendread Savior, like what? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? The deck is fully focused on Ritual Summoning and you want to go into a Link summon, then what? What's next? What am I supposed to do with that? Nightmare Mermaid is also banned, look at that. And essentially, what I'm trying to say here is that we have so much support for these other different decks, these different other archetypes altogether. I mean, you can actually count how many main decks and extra deck monsters by your fingers. There's actually much more you can do with this. Stop giving us the ones that we don't actually need or use. Like for example, Bellcat Fire. This card allows you to bring out tokens, but 3 monsters at 2000 attack points and the Link arrows are pointing upwards and left and right. You can do better, Duel Links, I mean, come on. We barely expanded on the amount of monsters or decks you can build. Even dual avatars are pretty much restrictive in terms of their entire overall build for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links anyways. And I do feel that if Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s were to add to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links within the next 3 days, our upcoming anyways, I also don't see an endgame. Like, what? You're gonna ask us to, you're gonna add a new mechanic into the game and want us to play by the tutorials and essentially build new decks surrounding that while the old decks are like incomplete. If I want to play something like that, I might as well go and play something like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 IRL anyways. But the fact is, if you were to add the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s into this, I just hope that it's just a separate mechanic, don't mix with this, because as you know, 7s have their own mechanics, their own cards, their own rules whatsoever, while the original have their own as well. So instead of just focusing on the new stuff and not actually caring about the old stuff, that's actually kind of bad in terms of consistency as well as providing a much more returning ROI for the audience as well as the customers and players like us who have been playing this game for quite a long time. I mean, there's a lot of content you can do: Link Vrains, Arch 5, Zaxol, GX as well as 5Ds. I can't say because GX had one final season that did not get the English dub, so that's why in America not many people know about the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. 5Ds is pretty much completed thanks to having the Dark Signers as well as the ones that are already available like the Time Lords. So the 3 Emperors of Iliaster kind of storyline, that's all completed. You got nothing else for you already. But aside from that, there isn't actually much for you to do. But if you still want to participate in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, that is still good to a certain extent. But if you want something that has access to all the cards that you need, like the ones in Monster Duel, then it's gonna be kinda hard because Yugioh Duel Links on its own, because in terms of regulating the game and controlling, making sure no one actually gets the entire thing out of hand and get too broken to the point that no one wants to play the game anymore because of all the copy paste decks that you see online. That's why I don't like playing meta decks. That's kind of why I decide to play as a rogue player instead. I don't like playing meta. Because if I start playing meta, then I get in that mindset of, oh, as long as I follow the main meta, I would win every single time. But no, that's not what Yu-Gi-Oh and Duel Links is to me. I just want to try different decks. I want to try out the ones that no one wants to play. That's one of my favorite things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I play the ones that no one wants to play, then I get good at it, then I can surprise people when it comes to PvP duels. That's all I'm gonna say. But aside from that, if you were to consider different archetypes or different character decks overall, if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, for example, there's also the Evil Tiles, as well as the Gerard archetype. Those archetypes are pretty good. Those are the archetypes that actually have pretty decent overall performance. Sure, they don't have much negates or whatsoever, but at least they're consistent to a point of going into the different synchro summons that you want. I'm just adding Utopia and also the Link monster just for shit and giggles. Because why not? If I can bring those monsters out, then why shouldn't I? Even the monsters, they are quite stable in terms of it all. If you click into related cards, at least there's a lot of array of cards you can build using direct monsters. And Evil Tile as well. The one I'm getting at is that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s may be a great addition to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, especially for those of you who are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s in real life and are enjoying the game and are excited for it to enter Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links to see how the game plays out. For me, I will consider trying Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 when it does release just to see how the entire mechanic goes, and if I like it, I'll continue playing it just to let you guys know that my content will vary in terms of that and not be restricted to the traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. But overall, it all depends on whether you enjoy it or not, and if you do enjoy it, then I'll try my best to learn as much as I can so that I can make a proper deck and at least get you guys interested in watching the videos anyways. But thus far, I would like to say it's almost time for dinner and I'm cooking. So this is the part where I'll say goodbye, I guess. And my throat is kinda sore because I've been talking non-stop for how long? 2 hours? Is it 2 hours or 1 hour? Oh, I've been talking for 1 hour and 34 minutes, which is more than I usually talk anyways. But yeah, let me know in the post, in my community post or in one of my videos, what you think of having Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, having the addition of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. I wanted to upload the video on Solomon Muto's event before the stream anyways, but I figured why not, let's just have more additional topics to discuss about during the game anyways. But thus far, I do feel that having Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is a great addition and contributing to the legacy of Kazuki Takahashi in terms of having Yu-Gi-Oh! Live on longer. But at the same time, I don't actually look forward to it because maybe it's giving me the cringe feel like how Zaxo originally gave me. But yeah, never judge a book by its cover, and maybe I might enjoy it anyways. But yeah, overall, the entire summary for this entire stream of discussion: Solomon's event, pretty okay, but pretty bad rewards. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s being at the Duel Links, okay, I'm open to the idea, but just don't make it to a point that you don't finish anything at all. Because Konami, if I just hope that if someone in the community or someone shares my opinion, if you're gonna finish Yu-Gi-Oh! In the old series like Arch 5, Zaxel, Link Rings, whatsoever, at least finish the game. Let it provide endgame content where we where the players will finish a game, get the characters that we need, and essentially have a full experience on the Yu-Gi-Oh experience before giving us Yu-Gi-Oh 7s or something. Because at this point, I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh 7s is like just throwing oil into the fire that's basically almost dying. But yeah, I'm just blabbering on anyways. Maybe Yu-Gi-Oh 7s might be a great hit in Duel Links, or maybe not, or maybe people might complain about it, or maybe people might love it. It all depends on the player base anyways. But I think that a lot of people, a lot of duelists I've seen thus far have moved on from Duel Links into Master Duels just because it's one of the hype ones and the ones that everyone is much more open to talking about it. Because even though Duel Links is a great game, sometimes good things do come to an end. So on the day that Duel Links just does die, I might even stop doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content and maybe shift to something else. But what do I do in that future? I do not know. Maybe I'll do something everyone does in the meta. But anyways, I'll see you soon and maybe see you in the next video. Most probably when Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 comes out, then maybe later on, we'll have much more things to talk about. So until then, goodbye, have a great day, and also keep dueling however long you have left. Oh, that sounded grim. Anyways, bye, goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen, sayonara, 再见. What's the title again? Buenas noches at night.